Hello and welcome to this tutorial about the serialization part of ABMT. This is going to be a tough one. So let's start right away and copy the example workspace. No, not the Eclipse workspace. It should be ABMT 414 examples. Example workspace. Let's start ABMT. So here we go. This is gonna be a really tough one. The serialization part of ABMT is not so well documented yet, and it's also not that easy to understand. So I split this into two parts. The first part will be, what do I need to make objects accessible to me and that I can use them in recordings or playbacks. And the other one will show you how you can dig deeper into the serialization when you want to adjust it, when you make modifications, when you have certain problems. Yeah. So let's go. We see it's running and we see in our view that there is something changing. Here we see a JSON file that is modified or that's changing. The rest is pretty much static. And here we have an output. So why is this like this? So when we look at the signals here, we see that our two nodes, there's only one output and one input in here. And we see that there's a tree opening and that we have attributes so that the output is an object, and then we see that it has another object that has the attribute A, that here the J has no attributes, E1 has an attribute I, and E2 has no attribute, and there's another I here. And here we see them in our view. So this example is about how do I make an object or my object available to ABMT so that I can observe the attributes of this object. So this is done in this example via many ways. So there are many ways to make this available. This first one here is the one you may most commonly use. So let's go. We have here several objects that are defined, or several classes structs that are defined, and we are using this example struct. So here we have O, J, S, E1, E2, and I. And go back here. So this is the example. We have O, A, str, or O, J, S, E1, E2, and I. So this is this here. And now go back here. We see that O has two other attributes. So O here is child object. This is this one. It is A and str. So basically, if you just want to make your object available to ABMT, you have to define this function and return a list of members that are made with this preprocessor command, and return this list. So when you want to make your attributes available, this is all you have to do. How this is working and the other ways you can provide your object to ABMT or make it serializable, that's also shown in these other examples. So in this other objects. Yeah, I stop this here. That's not needed anymore. So where was I? Yeah. There's something to say in this model. This is an expression that constructs this object. So basically, this is the expression. The function is just an initializer list. So let's go. So now we see that this is nearly the same. Yeah. So this expression is used to create an object, and every 500 milliseconds a new object is created. That's why this is counting. So every time there's a static variable, I will show it to you later. So the idea here, that's something new that you may reuse. Use an expression to create an object, and here's the type. Here you can see how you include a header from your workspace. So the workspace is copied to VS. This is the project we are in. We have our nodes directory, and there's the serialization example header. So in our nodes here, this header is included into this model. So yeah, this is much information in a small model. In this example is packed together, so it's hard to understand. That's why I make this video for you. So yeah, this is how you create an object, and how to include a header from your workspace. Yeah, and here we use an expression to call a function, a method. So let's look into this. So here print e2, and here we see I print e2i. When we look back, we see that e2 doesn't have this member I. So the serialization of e2, which is x2, which has an I, which counts. So we see that it's counting. So this constructor has a static variable, which is a counter, which counts how many instances are created of this object. Yeah, so the serialization of x2 does not provide any members that can be observed, but they are there. This is because, but I will talk about it later, or maybe ignore it that this exists, because the serialization of x2, yeah, this is another way to serialize, is of type blob, and the type blob cannot be displayed in a view. So here we see there's nothing written here. Maybe a future version will print that this is a blob and can be displayed. Yeah, but yeah, let's continue with what I want to show to you. So this is a way of creating this template function is a way to serialize. And here we see another way of serialization. So this is a member, and here in this case, example 1 is this. Yes, we can create this function or this method the same way as an external definition. So this is an internal definition as a member function of example. This here is how you can provide a serialization method without being a member function. So this can be useful if you have a library that provides a certain object and you want to display members of this object with or want to inspect it with a view in ABMT. You can provide this serialization function as an external definition, and then it's provided, and then you can inspect it, or make a recording of this object. So this is pretty nice. Yeah, it's not easy to understand why this works and how this works, but I show you how you can look into this yourself. So member function, external function, this is also the same, external function. Yeah, and that's it. So here, this is using the first method. This is another thing you can use. So you can, for example, create a from and to JSON string method, and then it serializes it by calling this method. That's what we see here. And the string method is here. So yeah, so you can provide a to JSON string function and a from JSON string function, or a to string or from string function, or this method define type, or external functions that provide this definition. Yeah, this external function has to be in the namespace ABMT serialize. Yeah, here this is, and it has to have the name define type. Okay, so I hope you understand a bit how you can provide or define your member functions. Serialization is a very broad topic. Yeah, it's used for recording and playback. So these record and playback nodes from the other example, record. So this one takes as an input a serialized type. So everything that can be serialized can be recorded, and the playback we take synchronous playback provides so where are we, has as output a decoder, so it decodes the object that you have serialized. Then you have to cast, like in the example. Yeah, but yeah, let's go back to topic. So this is basically how you can define your types. And now I come to the part that goes very deep into ABMT stuff, when you want to dig a bit around or have problems, or yeah, you just want to look how it's done. I show you how you can help yourself there. I do this by showing you a trick that's not documented yet. I open the output of ABMT. So we are here in our example workspace, in our build directory, and there's a Eclipse project file. So I just can include this project here into Eclipse. It's always called ABMT debug. Let's rename this to, it's the serial example. Yeah. Okay, so let's go. So here we have our main file. You can look into this. Oh, what's the index? The indexer has some problems here, but that's not what I want to show you. In our build directory, we have our WS directory. Yeah, all our nodes. And here's the example. Oh, what's wrong with the indexer? Let's start this once again. Rebuild. The string has to be found. That's not, yeah, there's something wrong here. Maybe because yeah. No, it's good. Let's look at the main file. Oh, that's way better. Okay, so let's go. Here we have our node, and let's look, for example, into the serialized type. Control click. Here we go. And this is the serialized header from our shared directory. That's here. Here's everything that's provided. Here's the JSON implementation and the serialize. And here you see that we have some base types, object, scene 3D, JSON string, serialized string. And here we have this type that can be created from bool, characters, ints, from blobs, from this member list. This is what we are doing here. We're returning our member list. And from our function that has an object that has two JSON and an object that has two strings, and here's all this C++ magic that even Eclipse doesn't understand. Yeah, and that's basically it. So let's see what we have else here now. I think yeah, one thing is, yeah, here's a blob type, for example. This is also a struct, yeah, that has these methods. So when you have been able to serialize to an char array or yeah, just data, then you can use this type. Yeah, it's an example. Yeah, why is the serialization stuff needed? It's needed because you work with pointers, for example, and you just can't copy the memory of the object, so you have to know how the object is serialized and deserialized, so else pointers wouldn't work and recordings wouldn't work when you want to record an object that's basically a pointer. For example, a 3D scene is a pointer list, and this pointer list, you have to look into the member that the pointer is pointing to. Yeah, all very tough C++ stuff, and yeah, just play a bit around. It's very easy. I think as a beginner, you mostly only need to implement this this method or make it available like this. So these are for the beginners. These are the most commonly used way to serialize and to an object, and to make it recordable and to make it observable by ABMT. So yeah, I hoped I helped you a bit on this tough topic. I think I will make another video about that another time. I update the documentation on the homepage and so on. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I helped you a bit, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.